Na mtazamaji wangu, karibu tena katika Jumamosi nyingine. Kumbuka kwamba hii wiki mambo yamekuwa makubwa, na nikikumbuka wiki jana Kiaria alikuwa amehudhuria yoga kule sikumbuki ni wapi, atanieleza sasa hivi. Atanieleza experience yake kule, lakini kwanza na kukaribisha tena. Kumbuka kwamba hiki ni kipindi chako maridhia kabisa, na ndicho kipindi nambari 1 kwa niaba ya wanadada. Kumbuka kwamba sisi ndo nambari 1. Chunguza kila matukio ambayo yanatukia katika ulimwengu wa michezo ambao unahusu wanadada moja kwa moja, ni sisi ndo nambari 1. Kila siku niite Kadeli Aita almaarufu baba la baba, mkali wa dimba. Leo tuko hapa na Kiarie, mambo mingi tu ambayo tutaangazia zaidi. Handball, kuna michezo ya kabadi ambayo imekuwa ikiendelea, na vile vile kuna usajili wa wachezaji. Tumeona baadhi ya mchezaji wetu humu nchini amesafiri kule Tanzania. Atakuwa na saini, anatia mkataba samahani wa miaka 2 na Simba. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunakujulisha je ni nani huyo. Lakini kwa sasa tupate katika mitandao zetu za kijamii zote ya GBS TV Africa. Tuzungumze katika rafa 21144. Leo mambo ni makubwa. Kwanza namkaribisha Kiarie.
Asante sana ndugu. And you are looking very bright. Kwani kuna nini?
We are approaching end month.
You are approaching end month. Thank you very much. A warm welcome to our viewers on another Saturday edition, the 25th of June. Welcome again to the Sports SUGU show, a dedicated show focusing on women in sports. We thank all our viewers for keeping it locked at Sports SUGU since we started the journey on the 29th of April. This is our 9th show, and we are glad to be watching. We hope to be receiving your feedback, your comments, your social medias. My social media channels are Kiarie Mwangi. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. And for the WhatsApp, 0742-529-011. I repeat, GBS 0742-529-011. Nahodha, zungumza nami.
Asante. Kuna mchezo ambayo imekuwa ikiendelea, handball. Naam, Kiarie, New Hope watakuwa wanacheza na watakuwa washacheza na Nairobi Waters. Mechi ilikuwa imeanza saa 3 na sasa hivi mechi kati ya NNCC watacheza na Amazon. Hiyo ni mechi ya kinadada ambayo ishangwa nanga mida ya saa 6. Kwa hiyo handball inazidi kunoga. Manake tumeona baadhi ya matukio ya handball. Tumeona Jaikwatu wamepurura, hajafanya vizuri.
Na pia najua tulikuwa tuende na wewe leo asubuhi, but kesho Jumapili tutaenda kuona Nairobi Waters versus Amazon. It will be at the Nyayo Stadium. Na tutapata matokeo ya leo. Pale kabadi, what happened last week?
Kabadi mwanzo kuna mechi zilichezwa. Nikizungumza nikiangalia Shrikach 1. Kumbuka kwamba kabadi si mara ya kwanza kuzungumzia katika studio zetu. Kabadi tumekuwa nayo hapa, tumezungumza zaidi ni mchezo unahusu nini haswa. Kuna Shrikach 1 walicheza na Police Coast, wakachapwa na Police Coast 54-34. TAC versus GSU, GSU walishinda. Na vile vile Shrikach 2 wakacheza na National Police, lakini mechi iliisha 24-53 kwa faida ya National Police. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunaangazia zaidi, tutakuwa tunafuatilia zaidi mechi za kabadi na vile vile ligi yao ya kabadi. Je, mambo yanaendelea vipi? Hata koko, manake wakati tulitaja kabadi pia koko tunafuatilia vile vile. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunazungumza zaidi na kuwaletea kila tukio ambalo linajiri kule kabadi.
Na koko, just to remind our viewers, they are very exciting games. They are games that can be done in the community. Na hazihitaji equipment. They don't need a lot of capital equipment.
Kugusa
na kuondoka. Asante. Tusonge KWPL.
Tukisonga KWPL, tuanze na taarifa za uhamisho. Ya kwanza, new signing wa Simba Simba Queens kule Tanzania. Kumbuka hiyo timu ni ya Tanzania, inafanya vizuri kule. Vivian Corazon Aquino ambaye amekuwa mchezaji wa gospel na vile vile mchezaji wa timu ya Harambee Stars, ni kiungo midfielder. Kwa sasa atatia mkataba wa miaka 2 na Simba, na ambao mkataba utakamilika mwaka wa 2024. Kwa hiyo kila laheri Vivian Corazon Aquino, na tunamtakia kila laheri. Tukirejea KWPL,
kabla tumalizie kwa Corazon, tunasema pia a lot of congratulations to the women in Kenya who are playing football. Kumbuka Tanzania walimaliza 4th most recently pale Uganda Sekafa. Nakumbuka Serengeti Girls wanasafiri, they are going to the World Cup. So there's a lot of football in the girls community within East Africa. Na sisi kama Sports Sugu will continue bringing them to you.
Naam, tutakuwa tunaangazia zaidi Sekafa weekend ijao. Je, makundi yamekuwa vipi? Tutakuwa tunayataja papa hapa Sports Sugu. Tukiangalia KWPL, kulikuwa na mshike kati ya timu ya Bunyore Starlets na Kisumu All Starlets.
Ilikuwa Kisumu All Starlets na Kisumu All Starlets na Kayole.
Na Kayole Starlets.
Na Kayole Starlets. Manake pale tulizungumza hapo tukasema hiyo siku ya mwisho.
Naam.
Hiyo mechi haikukamilika, lakini naona kuna uamuzi umefanyika.
Uamuzi ushafanywa, manake kulingana na sheria za FKF kwamba timu ambayo ni ya nyumbani haifai mizozo ikitokea, ni timu yenyewe ambayo itakuwa inaadhibiwa endapo mechi itakuwa inasitishwa kwa sababu ya mizozo fulani ambayo inahusisha mashabiki ama misukosuko kule katika timu ya nyumbani. Timu ya nyumbani ndio itaadhibiwa. Kwa hiyo kwa faida ya timu ya Bunyore Starlets, Kisumu All Starlets.
So Kisumu
All Starlets walizawadiwa alama. Bunyore Starlets, Kayole Starlets, Kangemi Ladies wakashushwa daraja. Kwa hiyo Kayole Starlets hawakufaidika, manake pointi zilituzwa Kisumu All Starlets kulingana na sheria za FKF.
So just to reconfirm to the viewer, the 3 teams that have been relegated in the season 2021-2022, Bunyore Starlets, Kayole Starlets na Kangemi Ladies.
Kumbuka walishushwa daraja pointi 19-6. Bunyore Starlets wakishikania alama na Kayole Starlets. Kwanza tukienda katika timu ambazo zitakuwa zinapandishwa daraja, tukiangalia division
1 league,
Zone A. Manake pale mambo ni makubwa. MTG, manake tulikuwa tumezoea Kibra Girls wakiongoza. Kwa sasa hivi MTG United wanaongoza wakifuatiwa na Mathare Women, na vile vile katika Zone B Vihiga, katika Zone B timu ya timu ya Royal Starlets inazidi kuongoza, na vile vile wakifuatiwa na Gideon Starlets na Solasa Steamer Queens, manake wameshikania alama 19, lakini timu 4 ndo zitakuwa zinaamua, je, nani atakuwa anajiunga na daraja hilo la KWPL, nani watakuwa navuka daraja. Kwa hiyo itakuwa ni Royal Starlets, Gideon Starlets, MTG United na Mathare Women, ambapo watachukua timu 3 ambazo zitakuwa zimefuzu kuingia katika KWPL.
Tarehe 16 Julai tutajua hivyo as the Division 1 Women comes to a close. Hebu tumalizie kwa tennis. What's happening at tennis?
Tennis tukizungumza sasa hivi kuna mwanadada anaitwa Okutoi. Okutoi, kumbuka kwamba Okutoi amekuwa akicheza tennis under 18, amekuwa akichezea timu ya Kenya, ni kinda na ni Africa Junior Champion. Anaitwa Angela Okutoi, miaka 18 peke yake. Anafanya vizuri baada ya kuanza vizuri katika mchuano wa J Tournament, baada ya kumbwaga Given Roach wa Britain katika raundi ya pili. Aliweza kumshinda siku ya Jumanne wiki hii, na anazidi kujiandaa katika mchuano wa 2022 Junior Wimbledon Championship ambayo itangwananga kule Uingereza mwezi ujao tarehe 2 hadi tarehe 10 Julai. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunamuangazia zaidi, tutakuwa tunamfuatilia zaidi ili kuweka mambo sawa. Tutakuwa tunamfuatilia ukutoi, amefanya nini, atakuwa anatuletea fahari katika nchi yetu, manake hatujazoea tenisi. Ushaisikia?
Sijasikia tennis kwa sana. Vile tu pia uliniambia hujasikia yoga.
Sijasikia yoga. Manake weekend jana ulikuwa kule yoga, utakuwa unanieleza ulienda vipi.
Anaona bado unasikia bado roho haijaridhika
Haijaridhika, uliniacha.
Tutazungumza
zaidi. Kwa hiyo mjomba, tumezungumzia taarifa 4. Tumezungumzia handball na vile vile tumezungumzia kabadi, michezo ambayo ishachezwa, na vile tukazungumzia ukutoi, kila laheri ukutoi, na transfers, new signing ya Simba SC, Simba Queens samahani, ambaye ni Corazon Aquino atajiunga na Simba Queens. Kwa hiyo tunatakia kila laheri, na vile vile tutakuwa tunafuatilia michezo hiyo zaidi ili kuwapa kila tukio ambalo linajiri kule. Kwa sasa tukienda volleyball kidogo, tukiguzia volleyball kabla hatujaenda kipindi cha awamu ya pili. Ukiangalia volleyball, Jane Washo wa Irimu amekuwa pale. Je, unamfahamu? Jane Washo yuko hapo volleyball na wiki ijayo tutamzungumzia kwa kina. Leo tunazungumzia yoga. Hatuko kwa volleyball, leo tuko kwa yoga. Nataka kwa hiyo ujieke kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunamuangazia zaidi Jane Washo. Je, amefanya nini katika ulimwengu wa volleyball? Tutakuwa tunamuangazia zaidi, tutakuwa tunaletea matokeo moja kwa moja. Kwa sasa tutaingia yoga. Kunani yoga ni mchezo upi? Manake mimi siujui mwenyewe, sijaucheza. Nimekuwa nikijua soka, nimekuwa nikijua athletics, riadha. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunazungumza zaidi kuhusiana na soka. Tunaye mgeni hapa, atakuwa anatuambia zaidi, je, ni nini yoga inahusu nini. Kwa sasa tunapumua, alafu tunarejea kwa muda mchache.
Everywhere GBS.
Naam, asante sana, karibu tena. Manake hapa tunazungumza yoga, leo tunacheza yoga. Leo mambo yote, manake nimeambiwa hapa hata kutabasamu ni yoga, hata sijui Kerie.
Yes please.
Yoga manake weekend jana ulikuwa mahali.
Kwanza kabisa I need to apologize on air.
Basa.
Nilikuacha, yes, I need to apologize. Last Sunday I was invited to a yoga event. It was also Father's Day. And I had a chance ya kupeleka 150 watu wa mtaani, and I left my host
151.
So it would have been 151 you included. And I can tell you vitu mbili zilifanyika. We had what is called a memory and an experience. And those can only be found when you taste something that is not haiko kwa kawaida. So again, pole sana, nilikuacha. I know when mtu wa football, athletics, etc. But today nitakuintroduce kwa a new word in your vocabulary.
Kwa hiyo leo nacheza yoga.
Leo si unacheza yoga. You see, now there's a problem with footballers. Kucheza football, kucheza. No. Leo it's called a yoga session. Sasa nyinyi mnamezoea ati nacheza. So leo tunazungumzia what is yoga. But mimi na wewe we can only talk too much. Give me the opportunity to welcome my sister.
Naam. Kabla ya hiyo tuzungumze zaidi katika mitandao za kijamii GBS TV Africa zote, na vile vile tutumia arafa katika 21144. Tuzungumzie katika mtandao wa WhatsApp katika nambari 070742529011. Kwa hiyo itakuwa bora zaidi tukizungumza, manake hapa leo nafunzwa yoga, manake Kiaria ilikuwa pale akaniacha. Kwa sasa
to our viewers, once again, thank you very much for staying tuned. Your Sports Sugu, it's a dedicated women only sport channel, and today we are lucky. Tumefuatana na my sister. She's going to introduce her name and who she is and what she does. Karibu sana, my sister. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. My name is SWATI PATIL. I'm a yoga instructor, a Hatha yoga teacher actually, and I specialize in therapeutic yoga. So therapeutic yoga deals with the prevention and treatment of particular diseases. Yes, I'm a born Kenyan, brought up in Kenya. I did my yoga studies from India through a comprehensive course. However, that was not my intention to be a yoga instructor, because my undergraduate is actually in IT, and my postgraduate is in finance. But I think I had my calling in yoga, so here I am.
And you followed your heart and passion.
That's right.
Where did SWATI Patil, once again, welcome to GBS TV.
Thank you.
Please tell us about how your passion stemmed from. Where did it come? Where did you start?
Because SWATI was in IT, in finance, then here there's yoga.
Yeah, so it's a very strange story, because just like many people, I also didn't know what, I mean, I've heard of yoga because it's part of our culture, but I wasn't really following it as such. But surprisingly, I was quite flexible as a child, as a young lady as well. And I wanted to show off a little bit of my flexibility. And at that time, I had a friend who had just come down from India, and she was an Ayurvedic doctor and a yoga teacher. So I didn't know at that time that she would be my mentor and my guide for the rest of my life. So she wanted to actually do a yoga ballet dance performance. So she said, "You're very flexible, why don't you just join, and you know, it will make my dance look good."
Yoga ballet
And then
dance.
so that was in 1998, and then since then I've never looked back.
And since then?
Since then I've never looked
You're in
back.
yoga.
Yeah, so I started practicing yoga just as a student, but I always had this thing that I need to learn more, because I wanted to teach others, but I wouldn't do it as a quack. I wanted to be certified. So then in 2012, I had the opportunity to go to India. By this time, my friend had already moved back, started her institute, and so I trained under her.
Wow.
Okay.
So now it's a career.
Career, yes, you can say.
It is a career.
It's more of a passion than a career choice. Yes.
So I think delving straight, because today is a very exciting Saturday talking about yoga, styles of yoga. Because first thing, even before we get the styles, is yoga a sport?
No, yoga is not a sport. Yoga is actually a way of life, because in Hindu religion, as they say, or through religion, even Hindu religion is not said that it's a religion, it's a way of life. So yoga started 5,000 years ago. Actually, it was part of our scriptures from 15,000 years ago. So at that time, all the knowledge like medical sciences, surgery, astrology, astronomy, yogic sciences, and the like, mathematics and cooking and everything was prescribed in our Vedas, which are our original scriptures. So 5,000 years ago, our sage Patanjali actually compiled a scripture especially for yoga. So that is where yoga got established as yoga, and then started coming down to the mainstream. Yeah.
So at least you have known the origin, where it came from.
Yeah.
Because Ekadeli, my host here, was looking at me before the show and telling me that yoga is a sport like basketball, swimming, football.
You know, you have been there. Last weekend you are there. I don't know in a yoga session if there is a ball or there is something to touch, or please. Actually,
just for the sake of Ekadeli, because I'm actually very repentant. I left him behind. What does yoga entail?
Yeah.
So basically what yoga is seen as right now is the physical postures.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the physical postures are seen as a form of exercise, but those are not the only components of yoga, because yoga basically has three main components, which you can say is the physical aspect, then the mental and the spiritual.
Okay.
So for that we have the physical postures, the breathing exercises, and the meditation part of it.
Okay.
But yet it is an eightfold part. So there are 5 other parts which precede the last 3 parts, which means how you are supposed to conduct yourself, which means how do you wake up in the morning, you take a shower, what are you supposed to eat. Then those are the yamas. Then we have the niyamas, which means how you conduct yourself in society. You tell the truth, you don't steal, yeah, just like the commandments,
Okay.
right? And then we have the asana, which are the physical postures. Then we have pranayama, which are the breathing exercises. Then we have pratyahar, which tells you to internalize, as you must have heard on Sunday when I was saying that you internalize and you feel what's going on inside your body. So you take your senses inwards, right? And then the last 3 postures are concentration, meditation, and then you get into a trance state where you finally achieved your goal.
So Kiaria here will be telling the truth because you are in that session. Utakuwa unaniambia ukweli. So Patil,
Yes.
Basically please walk us through how you typically lead a yoga session.
Yeah.
Okay, so as I said, there are the 3 parts of the yoga session. So normally we go through warm-up exercises.
Warm up.
Because in any exercise, warm-up is very necessary. Then in yoga we have 4 parts. So in the physical aspect, we do standing postures first.
Standing postures.
Yes. Then we do sitting postures.
Sitting.
Then we do prone postures, which means you lie down on the floor with your stomach. And then we have supine postures, which means you lie down on the back with your spine. And after that we have the breathing exercises, and then we have the meditation.
Wow.
Yeah.
I doubt Kiaria, you didn't do well there.
We actually did.
Actually, for my it's what is here. She's my witness. I managed the 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to let her know in the next yoga session my scorecard. But so far, I think I've ticked several boxes here, which I think I did. But I also need to ask her about the age of yoga, because the moment you mention yoga, now you see football, for example, this young man has been kicking tins, baskets, everything from when he was 3 years old. The stones, going to school. Yoga. Can a 90-year-old do yoga? Can a 5-year-old do yoga? What's
like Kiaria here?
You see, wait. Okay, because he keeps telling me that he wants to be like me when he grows up.
Yeah.
I mean, so tell us.
So yoga doesn't have any age.
Okay.
It has no boundaries of sex. It doesn't have any limitations of whether you're ill or you have a disability. It can actually be done by everybody.
Okay.
So it can be changed or modified or specialized for you.
Okay.
So the youngest child, because you need the child to be in a concentration, to have some concentration, not to be running around, So it takes some time for smaller children. So we recommend from 5 years onwards, because they are able to understand instructions. They are able to sit still for some time. But there are younger children who have it, they are talented enough to be still enough.
It's because Kadel is asking that because of the flexibility. So you mentioned that you are flexible from a young girl, and even your mentor noticed your ballet and all. I'm not going to talk about his flexibility and squatting and all, but where we are talking from is there's this myth, SWATI, that yoga is for the affluent, or yoga is for a certain class of people, or yoga is for a certain religious group. Take us through.
So originally when yoga started, we were saying that those were our scholars and our sages and our saints who were doing the yoga. They were not affluent. They were just wearing a loincloth and sitting somewhere in the forest. And that's all they needed.
Okay.
Yeah. So yoga is definitely not for the affluent. Yes, there are tendencies for people to have yoga studios, and it becomes a little costly depending on how many madoidos you call them. Yeah. But if you're down to the roots, yoga does not cost anything, and it's for everybody.
Ah,
You know, you have talked about a session, going back to that. How many people or a class can you lead a session with when instructing yoga?
Now
Is
that
it 50, 100?
that depends on the teacher.
okay.
Because you have seen at these public events,
Yeah.
personally, I've led a class of 7,500 people in the third International Day of Yoga.
Wow.
So, well, it depends.
Yeah.
But generally, if you have a patient or case or a special case, it's better to give a one-on-one session to that person. But generally, it depends on the teacher. Yeah, it's how comfortable the teacher is able to give their attention to each and every student.
And the space, because I think that's what Ekadeli was talking. You see, football, you think of a pitch, a field. Basketball, you think of a court, basketball court. What comes to mind in yoga?
Well, the word is studio, but it's not necessary because it can be done in the ground.
Okay.
It can be done in any hall. If you know your practice, you can just put a mat in your sitting room and do it there. You don't need any special requirements. You don't even need a special mat as such. You can just put a blanket or whatever is comfortable. Yes, yeah. Well, as anything that is stable and not going to make you fall. Right.
Okay. Ah, okay. Wow.
Now I'm learning.
No, clearly, now you are
learning about yoga. I've learned to tell the truth. Now I'm telling the truth. So how has practicing yoga, how does it benefit your body?
The physical aspect of the yoga is for the body. You stretch your body, you massage your endocrine glands, you massage your internal organs because of all the movements of bending and twisting. So you find in time the aches and pains start disappearing. If you have any physical ailments, maybe conditions like hypertension, diabetes, you find it started getting less. Women who feel difficulty during menstruation, it eases their problems. Yeah, and then the physical aspect is there, plus the mental aspect is there. So the breath work goes hand in hand with the physical aspect, so you don't do the wrong breath with the wrong movement, and it calms your mind as well.
So if I'm stressed, somehow I can go to a yoga session or do some yoga things. You know, Carrie will teach me.
yes.
It removes the stress.
Yes, definitely. Definitely. Yes.
And now, because you didn't mention physical, mental, and spiritual. And the truth is, and I think you laughed at me a while ago, when you mentioned spiritual, there are people who might think that, you know, because you chant, because at times, you know, it's part of the yoga, part of it, there's a place where you chant, you hum, and unajua, when you go, I mean, when you walk with Ekadeli and he thinks that you are nuts, because who is this guy shouting and chanting around? What does that? Because it can also create a conflict, because people might think, that's a yoga now and chanting. Mtu anaomba. Is it one of those prayer sessions?
So now we have to understand that yoga is the gift of India to the world. So all the hymns, the chants, mantras as we call them, are written in the language from there.
Okay.
Right? So we usually begin with the word Om, which is also very confusing to some religions. But Om, we believe, is the sound that the universe makes. It is believed by scientists that outer space, if you go, that's the sound which is made there. So it's a very calming and relaxing sound which helps you to center yourself. Yeah. Then the prayers and the mantras which are said, generally they are very general. They mean something like may everybody be happy, may everybody be peaceful, may we be healthy. Yeah. So they really they are not in praise of any particular deity or a god or nothing,
religion.
or religion or anything.
Ah,
So if anybody has any doubt about a particular prayer, they should consult with their teacher and ask for a translation. So once you understand what is being said, and then at the same time, you may have heard of vibration therapy, sound therapy. So these mantras and prayers, they were designed in such a way to activate different parts of your tongue, maybe your brain, maybe as you're, saying them or humming them, different parts of your body system. So it's necessary to say them in the language that they are made in.
They're made in.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, wow. No, it's because Ekadeli last Sunday, it was Father's Day, and we had the good opportunity to take the team from Fariji in Jericho and Dandora. And at some point, she was up there moderating and guiding us, and she was telling us to hum. And now it got a bit confusing because in between all that, and then she tells you to close your eyes, to connect nature, earth. I mean, yeah.
Nimeona hata ukiingia studioni ulikuwa unaimba kidogo.
Yeah.
Nikashindwa how.
So out here, as you said, and thanks for that kind of debunking. 10 years ago, cancer awareness and advocacy was deemed to be for the affluent. Ukisikia cancer, but cancer belongs to a certain group of people, or certain people are the ones who are prone to get certain cancers. And certain people who live in perhaps low-end income areas cannot get cancer. Now, for yoga, because out here, people see yoga, they get the cost. They feel yoga, now it's a whole cost. So, how much, or in terms of costs, because Ekadeli is a promise I made, I need to take him to a yoga class.
No.
Broadly.
I want to go.
Yes.
And probably na next session, awamu ya pili, she will be telling me the foods or the diet I'm supposed to take. Fruits, be it fruits, drinks. She will recommend to me. I will go.
So can you take a break so that we can let Swati
Let's
get
take
that?
a break.
Tafadhali.
Kwanza tunapumua kidogo. Hapa Kiingereza tunakimanya. Kwanza tutapumua alafu tunarejea kwa muda mfupi ambao unakuja. Tutazungumza zaidi yoga ni nini. Unaona kwamba nasema ukweli, naziba macho, naziba vile vile masikio. Kwanza tutapumua, tutarejea.
Everywhere GBS.
Na mtazamaji wangu, karibu tena, natumai unajifunza yoga. Manake hapa mimi najifunza yoga, Kiaria ashajifunza, lakini anabambanya vitu huku. Atakuwa ananifunza yoga. Je, kunaenda vipi kule? Tutakuwa na session na Kiaria, aniambia zaidi session kulienda vipi kule. Kwanza tutumia arafa katika 21144 na vile vile tupate katika mitandao za kijamii GBS TV Africa. Tuzungumze. Kama una swali la kumtupia Patil hapa, atakujibu. Kwanza Kiaria, tulikuwa wapi? Manake nimekuwa nikijifunza yoga. I've been practicing yoga the whole since we started the show. I've been practicing yoga, I've been humming.
Sasa kwanza tulikuwa on the coast because najua kawaida yako. The first thing unaniulizanga kila saa ni sasa tukianza yoga now will it sustain? I think wacha tuulize Swati. Let's ask her. The cost, what does it entail, and the cost?
Like any business or like any exercise place, you can see that there is a low end and high end. And the more features you put for the high end, the cost goes high.
Of course.
So that is what has been discouraging people from joining yoga, because it's an impression that they have that it's very costly. Maybe you need some special outfits and you need, you know, special equipment and all. But there are a lot of yoga studios in Kenya. I wouldn't want to name them directly, but they do community programs. Personally, Yoga Kenya does a lot of outreach programs, going to the slums, going to public schools, prisons and other places. So if you're talking about a yoga class, when you do your research, you will find there are a lot of classes ranging maybe from 100 shillings going all the way to a couple of thousands. It depends on what you're looking for.
So I think let's get to the outreach programs. Now that you have mentioned it, like, can you give us a couple of like public schools, like prisons, which Yoga Kenya you have visited?
We've gone to Ruiru prison, first of all, but this was before COVID. So since Yoga Kenya was founded in 2015, we've been doing a lot of these outreach programs. So I wouldn't be able to remember all of them, but we like to start with nursery schools, primary schools, tertiary schools. We've gone to universities as well. We've gone to prisons. And then Yoga Kenya started this initiative called Yoga at the City Park. So this was every Sunday at 3 p.m. So we would, the instructors would gather at the city park, and whoever would pass by and see us doing yoga would just basically join. So we had street children, we had sports people, shoppers around the area, and other guests who we would have invited at that time. Everybody does yoga together.
Wow. Speaking about the outreach, you have mentioned the prisons and my village there back in Turkana, Umasaini there, West Pokot, Eastern Kenya, they don't know about the yoga. Is there any initiative to reach them and teach them about yoga or anything?
Right now, we've not laid down the timetable for specific places, but I'm sure if you get in touch with Yoga Kenya, we can plan something. Yes, because we do go outside Nairobi to Machakos and other places. We've already been outside. We were just in Kerugoya the other week, so we do go outside Nairobi to hold these outreach programs.
Now let's get to the health benefits, because all said and done, and I know Ekadeli is pushing for Baragoi to have a studio. What are the health benefits that you can checklist for undertaking yoga?
So when I mentioned earlier, I talked about physical, mental and spiritual.
Yes.
So if we look at the physical part, we'll go for more flexibility, pain management, disease management, and then if we talk about mental, now we're talking about stress, depression, you know, suicidal thoughts, maybe loneliness, and basically the general well-being.
Your wellness.
Yes, and now we've just passed through COVID, so we have seen how people's bodies were weak, how the immune system, the weak immune system affected a lot of them. You find that you're not breathing right, so your lung capacity is not good. So breathing exercises help you with that. Yeah, so many benefits of yoga.
Yeah, and also increasing self-confidence.
Of course.
Because Kiari here, he has been very confident, telling me that I left you by taking 150 kilos.
He's never going to let you live that down.
Swati, I think we need to have, by the time we live here, we need to get to Swati and Yoga Kenya, see their next initiative, and we must be in it, because you must be the 151st person there is. Now, Swati, this is a dedicated women sports channel, and pregnancy and menstruation, they affect growing girls, sporty girls, especially for us here as our interest. What can you talk about yoga in pregnancy? Post-ante?
So pregnancy affects women, period.
Yes.
Whether you're a sports person or you're a housewife or anyone.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are three aspects of pregnancy.
Okay.
So one is when you're planning a pregnancy. Then we have the prenatal, when you are already pregnant but not delivered.
Yeah.
And then after your delivery, you have the postnatal.
Postnatal, yeah.
So since you're talking about sports women in particular, like in any career, a woman, maybe lets the time pass and feels that it's too late maybe for her to have a child. So yoga, there are certain yoga poses. There's a program which can be designed for them, and it can help to increase their fertility, maybe increase the chances of them getting pregnant.
Okay.
Once that happens, then for you to have a safe pregnancy, because trimester by trimester, we have different poses, and we have some contraindications or some poses which you cannot do. Yeah. Same thing with breathing, because we are creating more space for the extra person who is inside you. So it's an ongoing process. Pain management comes in, whereby you're able to endure the delivery process, then the lactation and all that. And then now, once you have delivered, getting back in shape, because once again, you're a sports person, you need to get back.
To get back to shape.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the pain management comes back inside that, and getting toning of your body. Yeah. Toning of your arms so that you can hold your baby for long hours. So many of these aspects come into play. So
Now,
there's
a question before Ekadeli asks that one burning question he has. How can you recommend, because there have been queries about athletes who still are active in sports during their time in pregnancy? Is it recommended for exercises and they still continue being active?
Yes, unless your doctor has specifically said that you have a condition whereby you need to be bedridden, or you have to rest, or you should not do certain things, it's always good to get a medical practitioner's advice before you start the yoga, any yoga. But it's always recommended to be mobile and moving till the last day. It's not recommended that you have to be stagnant, because then the energies will not be moving within you. So it's always recommended to continue your exercise till the last day.
Patil, what is recommended when a woman is in her menstrual cycle stage? Is she recommended to take some yoga sessions, or?
Yes, so now the same thing, pain management comes because of the cramps, maybe the fatigue that they may be feeling, headache, PMS, all those things. So there are yoga poses and breathing exercises which you can and cannot do during menstruation as well, just like in pregnancy. So it goes on a case by case. Yeah. So depending on what your symptoms are, there are a lot of poses which help you ease the pain, maybe relax your lower abdominal muscles, and you can have a comfortable menstruation period. Yeah.
Kerry, I had a question, because I'm prepared to do yoga, to take some session. You will be my first trainer. What kind of diet is somebody or someone or a person recommended when maybe taking yoga? Because we have seen athletes take milk. What about yoga?
In yoga, we believe in moderation in everything. So we don't judge you for what you're eating or not eating. But before your practice, it's recommended that you have an empty stomach, because obviously it will be uncomfortable for you to do the poses. So at least an hour or hour and a half, you should not have a heavy meal. Before that, same as water, like you might have noticed in many exercises, they are sipping water. But during a yoga practice, we are not allowed to drink water during the practice.
Wow.
So you may take some water before, maybe half an hour before, and half an hour later.
Wow.
But yet at the same time, let's say you've gone to do a yoga practice, and that day you're only working your arms and your legs. So we can give you a leeway for eating the food.
And just football is a 90 minutes game. What is an average yoga session? Because now you have mentioned 2 hours you don't eat. Ekadeli is looking at me with a bad eye. So what is your average yoga session time?
Okay. So now when I said you don't eat 2 hours before, you see, that's why it's recommended that yoga is done first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Because it's an empty stomach, your body is fresh, you've had your shower, and then you do your yoga. So a normal session which has the breathing and the physical exercises and meditation would go from half an hour to 45 minutes.
Okay.
However, you know, in yoga, you can get cardio, you can get strength training, because the very same pose, if you do it very fast in a repeated manner, becomes a cardio exercise. The very same pose, if you do it slowly as you stretch maximum, is a strength training. Yeah. So you use your body as weights. So
Average is 45 minutes
45
yoga
minutes you can
will
say.
do for you.
Yes.
And how many times a week?
It depends on person, but ideally you should do it every day.
Every day.
Yeah.
Kerry, yeah, I've not done it since last.
Start now.
Start now. Start now. Start now. Talk to us about the UN, because on Tuesday it was World
Yoga Day.
It was World Yoga Day,
Yeah.
commemorated every 21st of June.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the UN and how Yoga Kenya came to play.
Yeah, so in 2014, the UN in December passed the resolution at the request of the Prime Minister of India, His Excellency Narendra Modi, to put yoga on the map and in their calendar as the International Day of Yoga. So it was recommended that it should be done on 21st of June, because according to us, that is the day of the summer solstice, which is the longest day in the year. And which also spiritually is the day when yoga was given to mankind.
Okay.
Yeah. So in Kenya, when we heard the news in 2015, Hindu Council and Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, which is HSS, formed this group called Yoga Kenya. So Yoga Kenya was in charge of Yoga Kenya was in charge of conducting the yoga session for the International Day of Yoga.
Okay.
So in 2015, we had our first International Day of Yoga, which saw over 5,000 people, enthusiasts, and we had it at the Nairobi University grounds.
Okay.
So we didn't want it to just be an organization or a group which does Yoga Kenya, International Day of Yoga events.
Yeah.
We wanted to do something all year round,
Yes.
which is why we had the outreach programs.
Okay.
First of all, to promote yoga, to let people be aware of what is yoga and what is going to come on International Day of Yoga, and to encourage them to join us on that event, either remotely or in person.
Okay.
Yeah, so now we just celebrated the 8th International Day of Yoga. So Yoga Kenya has been there for the past 8 years, and we are going strong.
Okay.
Are there, you have mentioned about outreach, are there campaigns for the outreach, maybe in the future or the coming months?
Yeah, as I mentioned that because of COVID, things were a little bit slow. And after this yoga day, we are again having our meetings, and we are making a plan of a calendar of events, whereby we've got a few venues that we have already decided to go to.
Okay. It's because my producer is whispering to me, and he's saying that even the team, the GBS crew here, they also need a bit of the stretch and the organization. So is it something that we can reach out to Yoga Kenya?
Yes, definitely.
Or how does it work? Because
yeah, you see, Yoga Kenya is a group of individual yoga teachers, plus representatives of yoga institutions which are already established.
Okay.
So we have quite a few trained, experienced teachers. So when we have an invitation, like from your studio, we will get a group which is ready to come on a particular day, and we can come and have your session over here.
Now, because that's the smile which I was waiting from Ekadeli, because he has been...
And it's going to be free.
Yes.
That too. Now, especially, I think I can hear the producer whispering something. And between gender, talking about gender, between men and women, in a class of 50, what would be the ratio?
Definitely men are very less, because they are still feeling like this is a woman's exercise. But once they join the class, then they understand.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Patil, how many, because as I said, I will I will be in a session with Yoga Kenya or maybe one of your classes. What time do you operate, or maybe some hours? Is it in the morning, or do you operate on weekends or weekdays? Which time?
My classes are quite flexible, so I prefer to do, because I do therapeutic yoga, so I do one-on-one classes.
Okay.
But also I go to the class where I'm invited, maybe by a group. So it's organized by a certain group, and then I can go and take the session over there. But personally, on my side, I do one-on-one for therapeutic.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay, there's something you've mentioned about therapeutic yoga as a specific. Are there other clear techniques? Because that seems to be one with very clear how to do.
Yeah.
Are there other very specific yoga tips?
Therapeutic, basically, as I mentioned before, means that you want to deal, or you want to address a particular ailment.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
But we do have general classes, just for general well-being. So those classes are there. There are other styles of yoga, like power yoga, then hot yoga, and then there are some yogas which deal only with physical aspects. Some are only meditation. So one can choose what is comfortable to them, and then they can go to
I'm saying
such a
that
class.
because this being a sports, this being a sports channel dedicated to women, and we have had conversations in this show about mental health in women. We have had a lot of engagement, and we have heard that some of the mental issues revolve around winning and losing, preparing for a big race, and all. I think through your guidance, if I'm getting you right, can you do yoga at any time, or yoga can you do self yoga, or you need to wait until you go to an instructor, or can you do a 10 minutes? Can you say you are?
Yes, it's always advisable to learn the right thing in the first place. So even YouTube videos and all, they are not wrong. But it's always advisable, if you are a new person, to be guided, because you are not also aware of your body. So take a few lessons, I would recommend, and then try to do it. You can try to do it on yourself.
Okay. Wow. Kadeli, no excuse from here.
Carrie, I've been told that Carrie, you will be taking a session on meditation.
Yes, and I want to say it here so that Swati lives here knowing. I'm going to work with you. I'm going to take you through the classes. And once we do that formal letter for having GBS trained, because the producer is whispering something, we need to have one here to learn more. You're going to be the key guy.
Patil, your last remarks and where the viewer can find you.
Yeah. Where can the viewer?
They can find us on our Facebook page, Yoga Kenya.
Okay.
Alternatively, the telephone number is 0733 811 941.
Repeat.
0733 811 941.
Okay.
Yes,
Good,
and I
good.
think through the channel also you will be able to send us any query directly.
True. What is that one last thing you can tell a growing girl who is watching you right now as an inspiration?
Now, since this show is dedicated to women and girls, so I'd like to tell the ladies out there that they have to know that yoga is for them.
Okay.
Yeah. So whether you are a small girl, whether you're a teenager, whether you're a lady, or a lady who is past menopause, all ladies, yoga is for them.
Okay.
Yeah. And women are multitaskers. They get exhausted doing all the things physically and mentally.
Okay.
So they really need to keep themselves healthy so that they can keep their families healthy.
Wow.
Okay. Wow.
Thank you, Patil, for coming through. And we hope to host you some other times later, or maybe in the future.
Thank you for having me.
Carrie, your last remarks, neno lako la mwisho.
Of course, thanks a lot for coming through. Now you have given me a good reason to take my host for a yoga session. But most importantly, they're the lessons which our viewers have learned. Because your closing remarks especially, that yoga has no age limit. and the women being multitaskers and here being a sports channel, we encourage them to even do yoga more so that they can have the physical, mental and spiritual calmness. Thank you.
Naam, asante sana mtazamaji, tumekuwa tukizungumza zaidi kuhusiana na yoga. Kiaria amesema kwamba atakuwa na meditate mambo kama hayo. Kwa hiyo lakini nashuku sana ila tutaandamana naye, tutajua kwamba je, anazifanya ama tu anazisema. Kwa hiyo tutakuwa tunazungumza zaidi kuhusiana na yoga. Kama ni wiki zijazo, miezi zijazo ama mwaka ujao, tutazungumza zaidi kuhusiana na yoga. Kwa hiyo natumai umejifunza, pia mimi nimejifunza jinsi ya kupumua, jinsi ya kueleza ukweli. Nimejifunza. Kwa hiyo tutazama zaidi katika Sport Sugu Extra pale ambapo tutazungumza zaidi JEPL kuna nini, transfers ambazo zinaendelea kule, na vile vile fixtures zimetokea. Arsenal watakuwa na nani, Manchester United wataanza na nani, Liverpool timu ya Kiarie hapa itaanza na nani, na vile vile Manchester City wataanza na nani. Kwanza nawashukuru SWATI Patil kwa muda wenu. Muwe na weekend njema. Msepe kwa sasa Sport Sugu Extra baada ya muda mfupi.